It is the third. Is it the third Wednesday of November already? I feel like I must say that on every event that we do, that I'm in shock that we are all where we are already in the month. So yeah, it's the third Wednesday. Thank you for joining us. This is Monthly Momentum. So we've got a couple of really fun things to talk about tonight. Geoff went into the Kootenays and got a close-up look at the mobile home park and motel that we've been talking about for a while. So he's got an update on that, and you know, we talked about it today a little bit in terms of, you know, why would we talk about an update? And I think, you know, one of the key things to keep in mind is whether you're looking at investing in a mobile home park or not, the due diligence checklist is so helpful, right? It's whether you're buying a mobile home park or your first property or a condo or something with partners, it's all about the due diligence. And some of it you can do really quickly, and some of it is what, 30 pages, Geoff?
Yes, and it's an RV park, not a mobile home park.
Right. Sorry. Yes. Thank you for correcting me on that. So yeah, so it's just good to kind of go through it and review it. And again, it just helps with when someone brings a deal to you and you want to look at it, what are some of the things that are going to come up? And so when the more properties that you look at, the faster you can start making decisions on these. And this is a good one. And Geoff's been learning a ton, and it's been really exciting to see all of that
and I
come together.
The realtor and the owner were very impressed with all my questions.
I bet they were. I bet.
They knew we were serious, because I was just like, well, I've been in contact with the regional district, and I've been in contact with the police, and I've been in contact with the Chamber of Commerce, and they're like, whoa.
Whoa, this guy's good. Yeah. See, right? It just is it's so cool. I remember when I was looking at a mobile home park in Michigan, and I phoned the police station to find out if there had been any crime reported at that park. And the police officer was like, have you got a couple of days? And he just like basically gave me all of the information on the domestics, the abuse, the fights, the fires. And I think the funny part was that after he finished, he realized that he'd given me all the information on the park across the street. So that was pretty funny. So anyway, so yeah, so we're gonna get the update from Geoff. We also have Darlene Smith. Oh my gosh, Darlene has it twice in like 10 days. How lucky are we?
You are very fortunate, I must say. And the late version too.
Yeah, and it's the late version, because what time is it there in Moncton?
It's only 11:05 p.m. and I'm ready to rock.
You are ready to rock. So yeah, Darlene has been looking into some other interesting investments, and we thought, you know, it's always good to just talk and see what's out there. And how many people are hearing about digital currency these days? Everybody, right? So Darlene's got something very interesting to talk to us about, and I thought that would be super cool. And yeah, and it's nice to see everybody here. And I'm at my mom's place in White Rock, so just in case you know, just my background looks a little bit different, but I dropped mom off on the weekend. She's off to Mexico, and I am here doing my accounting at mom's, because I know if I'm home working on Crescent or Belmont, I'd be totally distracted. So I thought I'm just going to go and camp out at mom's place, and I've got paper everywhere and I'm getting lots done, and I want to bang my head against the wall, because I mean, it's been sunny and I just done accounting all day. So went for me, but I'm just going cuckoo. So Bill and Esther, I cannot wait to see you guys tomorrow. And Corinne, you're back. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. And anybody else who wants to come and join us for happy hour tomorrow. So we're doing happy hour in Vancouver. Well, it's actually in Port Coquitlam. It's at the Earls in Port Coquitlam. I'll be there at about 5 o'clock, and then we're going to saunter on over to Kelly Fry's office about 6:30. So pop over, have a beverage, and then if you want to come to the IPG group, Kelly's got a great lineup of speakers. And then I'm going to head back to the island on Friday and keep chugging along with Belmont and Crescent and Souk. And Stefan was up at Souk today, and Kathy was getting the Crescent suite ready. And yeah, it's all been very exciting. So there we go. So let's just dive in. Let's just get on it, because I know we've got lots lots to do. So if you're joining us and you haven't joined us for a while, just feel free to say hi in the chat. Let us know where you're joining from. Obviously, Darlene's going to win the time zone challenge tonight because she's in Moncton and it's already after 11. And welcome. And Darlene, I don't even know if I need to really introduce you anymore. I mean, you're superwoman. You've been a supporter of WREN since day one. You came out to the expo that we did. You were a coach and mentor with Fortune Builders. Now you're a realtor, and you've got the EXP brokerage going, and just so much going on. And it's so exciting to be able to keep connected with you and see all of the things that you're doing. And I know that Geoff's probably going to reach out to you when he starts to think about flipping or fixing his mobile home, because we know you've done that. So he's probably going to want lots of opinions on how to do that. So Dar, tell us what you've got up your sleeve.
Well, first of all, thank you, Liza, and thanks for letting me join in again. It's nice to see some familiar faces here and some new faces as well. So hi to the people I do know. Esther, nice to see you all there, going back. So I don't know about you, but one thing about real estate and investing in general is diversity. We need to look at some different items than I always have. And so I'm just going to give you a quick overview this morning, this afternoon, this evening, just making sure you're paying attention. And if you need more details afterwards, we can certainly go into that. As you know, with EXP, that's the brokerage which has the realtor's license. And how I got to the digital currency is some of the big players in EXP has been dabbling into some of the different platforms. There's one for about 4 months we've been playing with. I didn't mention it because we're just giving some things test run. I just put $1,200 in and doubled my money. So I'm like, okay, great. So the other thing is that, having the trust of the people that you work with and involved, some of my Fortune Builder coaches, one of the gentlemen was just over in London, England at a big convention and came back and kind of explained to it. So I'm just going to give you the top there. Is there a lot of different digital currency out there? Sure there is. Do you need to know a whole bunch about it? Not necessarily. Do I know anything about it? No, not as much as real estate, but I'm willing to learn and I'm willing to play with the big guys because you know what, if they can do it, well, why can't we take advantage of it? It's a great way for some cash flow. So maybe you're like, I got a little bit, but I want some more to invest with Eliza. Or maybe it's like, I might be getting old. It doesn't apply to anybody on this call here, but maybe I want to increase my retirement fund a little bit. So that's kind of what it's all about there. So I'm just going to get my screenshot up in here, share my screen, and just might take me a minute to get this set up. And okay, then where did my buttons go? Here they are. Oh my goodness. From the beginning, and then I just have to swap you around. See what happens when you're out of practice? All right. Just shake your head, Liza, if you can see the screen. All right.
Looks good, Dar.
You got it? All right. So yeah. Oh yeah, EXP. Oh no, wait a minute. We're not here for that, darling. So they gave me about 15 minutes. So you're going to have to listen fast and understand fast. And I will talk medium. So this is a company called GS Partners, and it's all about digital currency. That's where the world is going. And the easiest way, listen, folks, when they were explaining to me, this is like getting a ticket to Disney World. Okay, they got me right there at that. So that's the way to look at it. There's all kinds of things. Required to give you a disclaimer. Of course, this is education materials. We're trying to be as accurate. I will quote some averages that of returns going through. Also, too, if you take a screenshot, you can check out everything here. One thing you want to make sure when you're dealing with these companies, you want to make sure, number one, is that they are licensed, they're regulated. That's an important thing because there's some out there that are not, and you're playing with the big guys. One thing about this here, gspartners.global, that's something that's the partners that we're working with. And it's all about the technology shift in their ecosystem. So the ecosystem, and it's the word that got me was passive income. Folks, we all love passive income. I don't know about you, but we do. So we can do it by taking small amounts in digital currency. There's many options. So short-term items. So they have come up and they partner with BD Swiss, and the website's there. And I encourage you to do your own research. But I just want to let you know that these are some of the awards that they have won. They are the 5th largest trader in the world. They are GS Partners Tech Partner. So these are the experts. They deal big. Their goal, their 5th, is they want to be number 1. Well, in order to do that, they need to have more customers, more trading. So thing I liked here, licensed, regulated, audited every 90 days. And they're willing, they just want to start moving forward. And I looked at it, you know what? If you were to go and check out their website to get involved, you know how much money you need? Only $1 million. I don't know what you are, just a few decimal points short. So, okay, check it out. So you're thinking, okay, Darlene, what does this really mean? Well, you'll hear the term blockchain. All you have to know is that is basically, it's a ledger. Liza was talking about accounting. Well, it's where all the records, all the data is kept. So that's where it all kind of starts. And you're going to hear Web 3.0, technology is changing. So in the new web, on the internet, blockchain, you're going to hear a lot about that. The other thing you're going to hear about, of course, is like commerce, which is a metaverse. Now that's a new term. Think of it as a marketplace, and think of it like Amazon. Now, that's just keeping it, again, very simple. Amazon's a marketplace, so is metaverse. Here's an interesting fact. When I learned this, we all know that Facebook, what did it do? It changed its name. Oh, Meta. And I thought, oh, now I get it. Do you know that Facebook changed their name because they know on the digital currency that Meta, metaverse, marketplaces, that's where things going. So they're training you. They're training you already. So thank you, Facebook, for training people. Yay. So I was like, boy, that's pretty neat. Now, I don't know how many of you might have already knew that, but I didn't. So now this will look confusing. This is the entry to Disney World of GS Partners. See this one here, which is a certificate. It's like having a ticket for the park. It's the only thing I'm going to focus on here. This is a place where you can enter into their ecosystem. And if you don't like Disney, if you don't want to do any ride for them, you don't have to. So we're just going to give you the basis. But this just shows there's all kinds of other things out there. Don't ask me what everything is, because I don't need to know yet, but I will, guaranteed, as you move forward. So here's now, to get in, this is a organization where you just buy a certificate. Now, certificate. Think about this. You go into a bank and you buy your term deposit. You could buy a GIC. It's the same thing as here. That's what they call it. So that's what you're purchasing to get started. You say, okay, well, why would I want to do that? Well, on an average, they've been paying over 4% weekly. Let me repeat that. They've been paying over 4% weekly. What you're making in 1 month is like, as a private lender, what we would make in a year. Okay, get your attention. There's 2 parts to the certificate. The second part makes of over about 18% over 18 months. This is how the whole system works. So I was like, okay, got it. So all I want you to do is there certificates that you buy, and they're going to pay me good returns. Now remember, they've been working at this for a while, and this is the averages. The returns are a lot higher. There's other things you can invest afterwards, but I am not going to get into that. You're thinking, okay, darling, time's ticking. This is the simplest version of it, is that you don't need a lot of money, or you could use a lot of money to invest. So in the certificates, the one great thing is that they named them after the Greek gods. And I thought, that makes sense there. So the only one we're going to focus on here is the 2000 one. So if you want to do it bigger time, you can pay 5,000, 10,000, 25, 60, 150, 300,000. So as you can see, there is a 500, but the returns on that might be 1%. So this is where you really need to be. And okay, face it, How many of us have spent $2,000, these are US dollars, on something that gave us nothing? All right, few of us have. Just saying, if you can help bring you some money, why not? So these are the more details afterwards. So this is just an example. These certificates have two parts. They have the front part, which is the price. So you pay $1,000 US. And then they have the back part, which you match. They call it a load, which is $1,000. And that's how you get started. So you've now purchased the certificate. This is where the compounding, everything gets excited. This here part gets locked in for 18 months. So I'm like, okay, I can give this a whirl for 18 months. And this part here, you can continue to compound, or you can take it out weekly if you want. Okay, this here, there's all kinds of bonuses with it. I am not going to go into that. It just means that they want to give you all kinds of extras. Okay, Darlene, is it really, like, does that really work? Well, yes, it does. All right, there's more details, more bonuses there. I'm like, okay, if you want to give me extra, go ahead. So here's an example. This is just behind the scenes. This is just one of the certificates that I had purchased personally myself. As you can see, I've got $1,000 to get it started and load it. All right, away we go. Again, this is not to understand everything. It's just to give you a high level of what can be done. You're thinking, okay, Darlene, get to the gritty numbers. All right, so you want us to buy the tickets. You want to buy certificates. We can choose 2, 5, 10,000. Okay, we're going to get 4% weekly. Yeah, you could get higher. We're just doing an average. So here's the nuts and bolts. $1,000 invested at 4%. It's about, $40 some a week. In 18 months, 78 weeks, you can do the calculations on that. We've paid another $1,000 for the back end. They do about 18% a quarter, or 6% per month. Okay, all right, that all adds up, compounds. You want to take it out, you can. Here's the nuts and bolts. If I invested $2,000 and over 18 months, everything compounding and leaving it, the minimum will prove worth about $11,000 in about 18 months. 2011. Okay. Will it be probably more? Yes, but I'm not allowed to say that. I'm saying just as a minimum. Okay. I think that is a pretty good investment. This here, I won't go into a lot of details. It just shows you the 2,000 that you put in. Okay. And then it just shows you how the company matches. This will just show you the calculations. Remember I said here, we put in about 2,000, we get out about 11,000. All right, very simple. You are just putting it in, you're just buying a currency and it's being traded. It's traded on the, in about 7 different items. What they invested in, dYOURfuture, is 7% current crypto, different metals, different commodities, Forex, everything. So I'm like, if it's good enough for the big guys, a couple of rural people over in Europe, they put about 2 billion in. Okay, well, you know what? Why can't I play with the big guys? All right, I don't have $1 million, but all right, we'll start out. This here just shows you the calculations. Again, I would go into it in more details on one-on-one. You put in $2,000 US, how it, over the 18 months, how it compounds. This is basically the value afterwards, if you just bought one. Right now, they're running a promotion. They just extended it. If you buy 1 certificate, 3 certificates, you get 1 free. Huh? Yeah. I'm like, let me see this. So this is what I've done personally. So I bought 3 certificates of the, we call it the Hermes, 2,000 each, and I got a free one. So all I had to do was load it. So basically, I spent 7,000, and right now, without earning anything, it's worth 8,000. I'm like, okay, made 1,000 already. At the end of the 18 months, with all the compounding, those 4 certificates will be somewhere between 50,000, 75,000. All right, nuts and bolts. If I put 7,000 US in, compounds over 18 months, the minimum will be 11 or 12 each. multiply it by 4. You don't have to do. Some people just start with 1, and that's okay. But I was like, let's play in the big leagues. And so we do have people that's bought the 5,000, 10,000. I know personally some people that bought the 150,000. So this is a great deal. If you think that you've got some money that you want to, all right, then you can take it after 18 months. You can take it out if you want, and you can give it to Liza, and she'll buy some trailers or mini homes, whatever she feels to do. Or, hey, you can reinvest it. You don't have to. You're looking for somebody that's easy to deal with. Listen, I don't know anything about the digital world, but I was able to do it. I've actually, very short time, been training some other people how to do it as well. There's also an opportunity if you wanted to not just be an investor, but also there's different ways you can make all kinds of extra money. There are tons of other pools, investments. I don't have time to go into it. It's just, think of it, Amazon starting out. This is it. Where is Amazon now? Well, that's where Amazon is today. So, you know, this is the community. If you're looking for some more information, then just reach out to me, sit down, answer any of your questions that you'd like. If you want to do your homework, BD Swift, you can certainly check them out. They're over in beautiful Dubai. And actually, April, they're having a big conference over there, and a lot of us want to go. So GS Partners, just wanted to let you know about this opportunity. Again, if I thought that it wasn't worth it, I would not be investing. I just feel obligated to let you people know that you can have this opportunity. Stop sharing your screen, Darlene, push the button. And I appreciate there. That's a lot to take in a little while. But Liza, I want you just to summarize what I just taught, what I told you. Just what were the main points?
Invest 1,000 or 2,000 and get 11,000 back. It's regulated, it's licensed. Right now there's a promotion on, so you can get 4 certificates for the price of 3. You can make a pretty good compounding return in about 18 months. And it looks like some of the big guys are playing in it, so it's worth having a look at. So yeah, I'm super interested. I mean, I think most people on the call know that for me, I just have not wanted to get into the whole digital currency world, but it's a small amount, and I think with a regulated, licensed organization, it's probably a pretty interesting opportunity, and the fact that it's, you know, a small amount of money to start with, I know there are going to be people on the call that are probably going to reach out to you, because there's quite a few people who are, you know, they're liking the whole crypto thing and the diversification. So yeah, it'll be I'm sure they're going to message me afterwards and say, yeah, I called Darlene.
Well, I didn't mean to, like, you had not heard the presentation. So
No.
By the way, let you know, she had not, this is first. So I just wanted to see what you picked up, because that's why some people make this complicated, and I just want to keep it simple to the numbers. And different people have different questions as such.
Yeah. So does anybody have any questions for Darlene on the, go ahead, Corinne.
Yeah, just super quick, Darlene, I'm curious about like a tax receipt. Like if you decide to withdraw the money, is it a transfer into your direct bank account, and do you get a tax?
It is income that you make, and you're responsible for claiming your own income.
Okay.
Correct? So you buy a currency. Okay, and then it doesn't go. You set up a currency like a Coinbase account.
Mm-hmm.
Money can be wired in. I did it very simple. I'm not. Okay, and then you just buy a currency, and then it just gets transferred into your GS Partners account. Very simple to do. And then you just load your certificate. So that's really the simple of it. What you make and everything, it's your responsibility, okay, to claim it in your income. Everything is tracked, and you can see. Now, here's the cool thing. One of my, I was buying my 3, because it's blockchain and instantaneous. So Alex, who is one of my other partners, he sponsored me. So we watched his account. I bought my 3 certificates, got my free one, and within about 10 seconds in Alex's account, he had his commission for me on my 3. We were all on a Zoom call. That was pretty cool. None of this waiting for, so yes, easy to get your money in, easy to get your money out. I've talked to other programs and there's a lot of great programs out there. Don't get me wrong, right? The Empress in Emirates, one of those countries.
Emirates, yeah,
yeah.
United Emirates, yeah.
Yes, they put 2 billion into this program. So I'm like, okay, I'll take my little money to go from there. So
sorry, just so if you withdraw, then it's converted back into your own currency. Is that how it works?
correct.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
It
Yeah.
probably stays in US though, right, Dar?
Yeah, what it is that it goes into, you can transfer in a couple different items. They of course use the US dollars, the stable one. So just to be simple, in Canada, in Coinbase, you can't buy US. So I just buy Bitcoin. Done, boom, transferred, done, boom. I wired some money. It was into my trading account within 24 hours. Very simple. I'm not technical. So folks, if I can do this, right? And I've been helping other people just getting set up. I just think that, you know what? And some people have different platforms that they invest in, and that's great. Nothing wrong. One of their guys, he sold some of his EXP stock. Another program put 40,000 in. He take out 45,000. He still has 85,000 in there with probably a 6-month term. So you can, you know, again, different levels. What I like about this is that you don't have a lot, you can start playing. You got more money you want to play? Great.
So couple of questions. Because it's American or digital, is the company that we're investing with in Canada, is it considered a Canadian arm of the company? So are you reporting in, basically, are you reporting taxes to a country outside of Canada? Like that's
no, they're in 55 countries.
Yeah.
So
it's a Canadian platform.
Well,
or for tax purposes.
For tax purposes, remember, any investments you do, whether you're investing in property,
Yeah.
whether you have rentals, it's up to your responsibility if you want to claim it. That's your right. We know that there's some people who have rental houses out there and they don't claim the money, right? Let's face it, that's their choice. Same thing here. It's a good thing when you have to pay some taxes. Let me repeat that. It's a good thing if you had to pay some taxes because it means you made money.
Yeah. So definitely worth chatting with the accountant about. And then another one with so many news things about crypto tanking. I mean, it's one of those things everybody has to evaluate the risk, right? But it's I'm guessing that they've probably addressed some of this on the website, or with it being regulated and licensed, it's probably a little bit more secure than the Cowboys.
Yeah, some of the Cowboys was too egos and they weren't really playing the way they should be. Licensed, regulated in 55 countries, audited every 90 days. Everything is on there, the ledger, everything is recorded. So there's no way you can get anything, okay, this one can take the money, it can't. I understand, everything is, there's never a guarantee. They've been doing this for a while with the average of the 4%, right? They say the back end of quarter is 18%. I won't tell you how much the last quarter was because it was only 60%, but I can't tell you that. It was a little more than 18, so.
Cool, very interesting. Can you buy it through a corporation?
Don't see why you can't, because you just have to set up a trading account, like a Coinbase account. So
okay.
That's your email, something to do. The other thing is it's very secure. There's every time I log into my account, I have to use a 2-factor security. So that was important for me as well. So it can't be hacked.
Cool.
Great questions. So
very
yes.
Cool. Yeah, it looks like there's quite a few people who are going to reach out to you. So yeah, that's yeah. I think Corey's nodding her head. Duh.
Well, you know what? There's a lot of things and the people that are involved, I certainly trust them. They've done their research. I've done my research. And if I didn't think it was a good thing, I would not say anything. There was another company, I was involved in. You didn't hear me say a word because I knew it was not the one to tell you about.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, it's just it's great to get more and more education on some of the things that that are maybe a little bit outside of our knowledge or comfort zone, and getting that diversity. And let's face it, is $1,000 investment going to change any of our lives that dramatically? but is it going to give us a good learning opportunity? Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it does.
yeah.
And some people invest in more than one platform, and I think that's great. So
Awesome. Very cool. Dar, do you want to just pop your contact details in the chat just in case anybody wants to reach out to you? And any last questions before we turn it over to Jeffy? Great, great, great. And by the way, Rosie, it's great to see you. We have 2 Roses on tonight. Rosie, are you still in Mexico? You're muted. It looks like you're in Mexico.
Yes, I am. Yeah,
Yeah,
I am.
you just look like you're loving it down there. You're glowing. I'll be down soon.
Yeah, coming over or coming down.
Yeah, and Rose, you're joining us. Sorry, today I think you heard me say accounting all day. I literally didn't take a break, but I'm going to see you tomorrow.
I'm going to try and come tomorrow. I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah.
just down the street from you and we can't connect, but I understand what it's like to do accounting. So it's nice to see you tonight.
It's good stuff. Cool. All right, so we're going to jump on to Jeffy. So if anybody wants to get Darlene's information, she's just posted it in the chat, info@darlenesmith.ca with her phone number there. And again, you know, Darlene and I have been working together on and off for like 5-6 years now. Darlene was at Fortune Builders in the US for a long time. They've really gotten big into EXP. I've been having conversations, a lot of conversations about EXP recently because one of the new big players that I'm working with is looking at setting up an EXP agency. And yeah, it's just really, it's a really interesting, you know, non-bricks and mortar, 100% online real estate platform that is set up quite a bit differently than traditional real estate. And, you know, one of the things that we have been talking about a lot lately is just the disruption in real estate in general, right? It's, I was having a chat with a colleague about Addy the other day, how, you know, you can invest in real estate through an app and an investment platform called Addy. And I believe the maximum you can invest is $1,500. And they've set it up because they want to democratize investing in real estate. So they want to make it accessible for more people. And so they've got a really low threshold. So we're going to see lots and lots and lots of new changes and new platforms and new things coming on. And we're heading into, you know, the unknown zone. We keep talking about that. And this is when you see the creative people come out and shine, right? There's going to be lots and lots of people looking at the time that we're heading into over the next 6 months to 2 years with this kind of unknown economy. And there's just going to be a lot of innovation, creativity, change. And so it's not the time, and we've done this, we know we've had this conversation before, not a good time to stick your head in the sand, right? Just like we all did right at the beginning of COVID, we all took our head out of the sand really quickly and got to work on looking at the opportunity that existed at that whole COVID starting point. And I don't know how many properties all of us bought in that time period. I've just lost track. So, but yeah, it was kind of crazy. So now here we are. So going from crypto to what's the word, Geoff?
Salmo.
Crypto to Salmo. There we go. Crypto to Salmo. Yeah. So again, for those of you who may not know the backstory, Geoff's going to review the slides again, but Geoff is my right-hand guy, and he's been working with me for a number of years now. We did the Real Estate Expo together. He's done my communications. He does the newsletter. He does the website. He does the graphics. He's sometimes me if I can't be. And so he's, you know, he and Esther edited the book. So Geoff's like, my gift, one of my gifts, and I'm always grateful that he's still here now. I'm super excited that he's excited about buying a real estate property, and he's, you know, he's not just looking at a house, of course not, because, you know, why would he? He's looking at an RV park with a small motel. So it's just been super exciting to watch Geoff take this journey, and he's got a bit of an update for us tonight. So Geoff, do you want to take it away?
Sure.
All
So
right.
I just sort of in 3 parts. I just want to quickly just introduce the opportunity again. I want to show a short video of the exterior of the buildings and the property. And then I've got a PowerPoint presentation, which is shorter than the first one I did. You guys can always go back and see the original. I'm going to rapidly go through those slides, but really I want to get to the interior shots so you get a sense of what the rooms look like in the motel. So yeah, we made the trip out last Thursday, and the owner was gracious enough to give us 2 nights in the motel so we could actually see what it was like to stay there and have an intimate view of it. He doesn't live on the property, so we were on our own, except for the 2 tenants that live in 2 of the units. And, you know, for us, it was, as I mentioned in the previous video, it was sort of a process of repatriation, because my partner had lived there for 15 or so years and really wants to go back. And it's something that I want to do as well. I've never lived there. I've actually spent about a year in the Kootenays over the last 20, but I've become more resolved that I actually want to live there. So when I was out this summer, I was looking at a lot of properties for rent, including mobile home parks and RV parks and other types of vacation rentals. And I came across this one because I've been spending a lot of time looking at properties coming up and trying to track where prices are going, and prices are changing a lot in this region. You know, some properties are like I've been looking at houses that are in the 250 to 350 range, which is unheard of for Vancouver Island, but you can get cute little places for that on a little bit of property. And some of these properties that I'm tracking have dropped by 75,000. Like there's a huge shift going on, and I'm not sure if it's because of this region or I don't know what the fundamentals are. I know it's obviously a response to the interest rate changes, but you know, the Kootenays is a growing region, and it has the same lack of housing crisis as everywhere else. And that is one of the things we kind of explored, is just looking at what people are paying for rent and the kind of demand that there is and what opportunity this property potentially presents because of that. So yeah, so we stayed in the motel, and I had lots of time I met with the owner and walked the property with him and my realtor, and got lots of questions answered, raised some additional questions. But, you know, we feel like this property is still worth pursuing. Like there's nothing that we've seen that makes us go, okay, this is a real issue. And really what the main purpose of this trip was to determine whether we wanted to invest in the commercial inspection, which is $3,000. So I wanted to take lots of photos and ask lots of probing questions, and then get some of our allies here who have experience in construction to look at the photos and give their own assessment, because they asked, the asking price was $795. We offered $745. They accepted. And now we think that we can probably go back with a lower price, because there are some renovations that are required. The backstory on the owner is he's owned it for 20 years. He and his wife ran it as a mom and pop business, and he's 82, and his wife died just in January of this year, and it completely took the wind out of his sails, and he lost his motivation to operate the property. And it was actually quite an emotional time for him and for me, because I've experienced quite a bit of loss as well. And he was really just saying he's desperate to just leave and stop running this, which had been a partnership with his wife for so long. So he was a wonderful guy. I read the reviews that people had written in the guest book, and it was all about hospitality. It was about the feeling of warmness, and so there's a legacy clientele that keep coming back because of the kind of atmosphere and the reception that he gives guests. So so the basics are that it's 18 motel units, quite small, renting at $55 a night right now. 18 fully serviced RV sites that rent at $18 a night. And something we weren't aware of is that there are 6 forced campsites with water service that wasn't mentioned in the realtors package. So that's an additional revenue stream there. And then there was a couple of other, yeah.
Jeff, just to jump in for a sec, is it
Yeah.
8? It's 8. It's not 18 motel rooms,
Oh,
isn't
sorry,
it
it's
11?
Sorry, yeah, it's 11
That's okay.
motel
Yeah.
units. Yeah, 18 RV sites. So it's a 50. It was built in 1958. It's a wooden structure. It's had a roof replaced in the last 10 years. It's had hot water heaters replaced. It was in the process of renovation. So there were 3 units, I think, that were renovated. New drywall, new carpets, new bathrooms. And we actually saw a gutted unit. There's one that's been gutted, and gave us an opportunity to actually look at the structure of the building. And I got close-up photos for other people to examine. And then 2 of the units are being occupied by long-term renters. And I had the opportunity to interview one of them and see what their experience has been and get any kind of inside bump. There are, and there's been differing numbers, but there are in fact 5 with kitchens. And all of the units have at least a fridge and a microwave, but 2 of them actually have bedrooms, like they have separate bedrooms, and the full kitchen. So what I'd like to do is just show a quick, it's less than 3 minutes. It's a video, it's not narrated or anything, but I put some super titles on there with some details. And it'll just give you a sense about where the property is located, the context of it, and also what the exterior of the buildings look like, and also the RV park portion of it. So I am going to share this and hope it does not do anything bad to me. Okay, is everybody seeing the YouTube screen? Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of music, there's no talking. Oh, I'm going to start at the beginning so you can, there we go. And you'll see my dog a lot. The mobile home looks a little sketchy on the outside, just the cladding, but it's actually quite nice inside. There's an attached office. And the intention is that I would live on site in the mobile home to manage it, at least for the first year or 2. Those are the septic hookups on the grounds. It's a utility shed at the back, and this is something that wasn't in the realtor package. It's a 600 square foot cookhouse that was placed there by a contractor and was left there, and is now part of the property.
It's quite pretty. Like the setting is quite nice, right in the mountains with the snow. It looks fantastic.
It's really beautiful, and there's a rushing river nearby with a water hole or a swimming hole. So these are the 6 forest campsites. This is on the edge of the 1 acre portion of the property that's forested, and they just have water hookups that are attached to the trees. And then the music goes on and on and on for some reason. So that is the video. So that gives you a sense of what it looks like. There's quite a few cosmetic things that are required, like painting and as I said, he was in the process of renovating, so he was replacing all of the wood framed windows with aluminum framed windows. That process isn't complete. He was going to replace all of the showers. He's got shower stalls, fiberglass shower stalls ready to put in place. So what I'm going to do is go through just to give you a bit more background and then show you the interior images. Liza, if you could start the PowerPoint, because again, I don't trust my sharing on.
Sure.
So Geoff, really important question. Is that boat included?
I don't think so.
Even see a boat. Where was there a boat?
There was a boat behind the mobile home park. Everything, he said everything is included, including the ride on lawnmower, all the tools, the snow blower, and except for the backhoe.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah, when you and I talked about that before,
Oh,
quite
so-
often but I was just kidding about the boat. I don't need another boat. That's yeah, that's
Yeah, it looked a little lichen-y. It was covered with lichens.
Oh.
It's been there for a while.
It could be.
yeah,
it
best
could
way
be
to kill
cleaned
a
up.
boat is to put it on a property somewhere. Anyways, let's
Yeah.
move on to the important stuff. Yeah.
So as I mentioned, the asking price is $795. The accepted offer is $745. The assessed value in 2022, which is just the land and buildings, is $735. And the property taxes for 2022 is $4,000. There are 3 property classes: commercial, residential, and recreational, which probably accounts for the high property taxes. Next slide. So again, just quickly, Salmo is shown with the yellow star. It's called the hub of the Kootenays because it's exactly equidistant, or in terms of driving time, to Trail, Castlegar, and Nelson. It's 30 minutes. And it's also on Highway 3, which is the southern route to Alberta. So there's quite a bit of commercial and tourist traffic that takes that road. And we're also 2 to 3 hours from Spokane, Washington, which has a population of 240,000 people. And we're on what's called the International Selkirk Loop, which is promoted on both sides of the border as a scenic tourist route. So we're taking advantage of tourism promotion on both sides of the border.
And I think, Geoff, it's just, if everybody hasn't been here, it is truly one of the most gorgeous routes in the world. I mean, it really is. Like this whole, Nelson, Creston, the Spokane area, driving into Coeur d'Alene, like this whole section here, the Purcells. When I was tour guiding, I mean, we used to drive the Australians through by the busload, and they were just in awe of all of the scenery. It really is absolutely beautiful. So yeah, it's a pretty spectacular spot.
And with all
Sorry,
that,
Jeffy.
with all that scenery also comes a lot of recreation opportunities, including provincial and national parks, 3 ski hills. The Salmo Community Ski Hill is literally 7 minutes from the base of the ski hill to the motel. And it's well known for its night skiing. And then we're 30 minutes from Whitewater, which is a big ski resort, and about 40 minutes from Red Mountain in Rossland. So if you continue.
Go to the next slide.
Yes, please.
Yeah, beautiful.
That is the town of Salmo, and that's in the Salmo Valley, running along the Salmo River. It's very flat because it was traditionally a floodplain. It's got a population of about 1,000 people, and the greater area is probably about 2,000 people. But we're not looking at people using the motel or the RV site from the local communities. It's just that the local services are there, and the motel is exactly 3 minutes drive from Salmo. So we're close to services, we're across from a truck stop, but we're far enough out to have, beautiful clear skies at night. And as I mentioned, the Erie Creek is nearby with a swimming hole, and there are designated off-road trails in the mountains around there. There's quite a bit of forestry going on, but the forestry roads also give access to recreation. Like I walked up the forestry road behind the motel, and it was just beautiful. Next slide.
And I'm assuming, Geoff, this is mostly just going to be lots of pass-through traffic. Like I've driven that road. you know,
Yeah,
I usually, I think I spend the night usually in Grand Forks, which is close to there. But this could easily be a midway point to stop over going to Alberta, correct?
Absolutely. There's definitely stopover traffic. I think we could promote it as being a place where you could set up for the summer and take advantage of all the recreation around, whether it's winter or summer. But the other thing that we're trying to really focus on is corporate rentals, because when I was there, there was a crew of a road crew that was paving, and they had been there for 5 months. And loggers apparently rent there all year round. And as I mentioned, there are 2 full-time tenants. So there's a bunch of different combinations and options.
And the festival.
And the Shambhala Music Festival, which attracts up to 17,000 people over 10 days, but has hundreds of staff that will be requiring accommodation. Most of them stay on site. But you know, if they're there for 3 months, I'm sure they'd like to. Some of them would like to have a shower and internet and all the other things that a motel could provide. That's the Salmo River. It's very shallow and warm, and a big tourist attraction for a lot of people because they tube on it and they kayak on it. Next slide. That's the Shambhala Music Festival. They had 17,000 people at its peak. It's starting to come back after 2 years being off. This last year, they had 10,000. Next slide. That is the community ski hill, which we're 7 minutes from the base. We drove right to the bottom to look up at it, and then we timed our drive back. Next slide. That is Whitewater. Whitewater has tons of international staff, seasonal staff that come from November until March or April, and they're desperate for accommodation. Our realtor is a good friends with the HR director, and she said if we bought the motel, she would make that introduction for us in terms of offering accommodation to their staff. We're making special arrangements for them. Next. And that is Rossland or Red Mountain in Rossland, which is like a mini Whistler, and really beautiful. That whole area, even though Trail has, you know, is an industry center because it's got a tech mine there, or the tech plant, which is ugly as hell, but the community itself is beautiful, and all the communities in this region have this relationship with water and mountains and forest in their own unique way. Including Salmo, and it's just an absolute pleasure to drive around this entire region. Next. So again,
quick, sorry, Geoff, quick question. What do the two rent for about
breaking up.
1,000?
You're breaking up a lot, Stefan.
Am I? Okay.
Yeah.
The
but
2 units.
They're paying 1,200, right, Geoff?
one is paying 1,200, one's paying 1,100.
Yeah.
Okay.
A month.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So the general description, it's 4 titles, 4.12 acres, 11-unit motel, 18 RV sites, 6 forest campsites, mobile home for manager with a detached office. It's on a well. The water gets tested every month, and he showed me the certificate. Apparently it has excellent tests every month. And he said that in the high months, in the hot months, when the RV sites are full and the motel is full, and he's watering all of the lawns to keep them green, there's never a change in water pressure. So apparently it's a very reliable, high quality well. There are 2 septic tanks in a field. The septic tanks have been emptied 3 times in the last 20 years. So we had put in our cash flow crunch like twice a year at $1,500 a pop. So it's much less expensive to empty those tanks. They throw in bags of nitrogen every time they empty them, I guess, to accelerate the assimilation of the solids, and it's all electric heat. Next slide. 4 titles, as I said, you can see them designated on the left, and then on the right, you can see that all the 4 titles outlined in red with the 1 acre of forested property on the right there. Next. So they are giving you a lot of this information already. There's smoking and non-smoking units. When I was there, it seemed like the owner had actually instituted only smoking outside of the building. He made that comment. So it looks like as he was renovating, he was making the policy these were going to be becoming non-smoking units. They're pet friendly. There's a laundry for cleaners with 2 washers and 2 dryers. I didn't mention that they're drive-through RV sites. They're very spacious and very easy to use. So there's not a lot of maneuvering that people have to do. There's satellite TV, which wasn't mentioned in the realtors package, and there's TELUS copper wire internet. They said high-speed internet. It is not well, I guess it's high-speed internet by standards from maybe 10 or 15 years ago. There is fiber on the other side of the road, but it hasn't made it to this side of the road yet. So they're using copper wire and using wireless repeaters to make the wireless service available to the RV sites. Next. So that is the motel again. It's had a bit of a paint job. Again, halfway through, it's not complete. This is the old paint. And the guy that did the new paint didn't do a very good job. So there's a few cosmetic things that you might notice. Next slide. That's the office that's been built. He built it himself. He's a carpenter by profession, so he's done a lot of the carpentry renovations himself, and that's attached to the mobile home. So there's a set of doors that attach that allow entry into the office. Next. That's the inside of the office. Everything, we get everything. We get the computers. The only things we don't get is the debit machine, which I think he rents. Next. So here are actual photos of the types of suites. So as I mentioned, there are a few suites that have been fully renovated, and there's a couple of suites that have had new paint and new carpet. So the decorations are all a hodgepodge. You know, it's just a lot of kitschy stuff that he's been collecting over time. But he's done a good job. The room we stayed in was impeccably clean. There was no damage. There was no scuffs. And then there are other rooms that have not yet been updated, and you'll see a couple of photos of those. Next. So this is all the same unit, just to show that the bathroom, the linoleum's in pretty good shape, and the fixtures. Fiberglass shower insert, of which he has a bunch in the basement ready to go. TVs in every room, fridges in every room, coffee makers, microwave. Next. This is one of the one-bedroom suites, which they don't call one bedroom. They just call them a full kitchen, but it has a full kitchen and it has a separate bedroom with a door. And this is one of them that was completely renovated. Next. That's the kitchen portion. There's the bedroom, bathroom. Now here's one of the unrenovated suites. And, you know, as I said, it's been decorated by an 80-year-old man.
Look at that carpet.
I know. Well, actually, you know, the carpet's kind of cool. It's, but it's the kind of carpet that makes you wonder what's in it or on it.
Hey, Geoff, this is back in style now, okay? So don't do anything.
Okay. Okay. Well, the bedspreads have got to go. But you know, like wood paneling, it looks like you know it was decorated in 1958, and that's kind of the way it stayed.
And why would you think that's not the case?
I do.
It is the case.
The other thing I was very conscious of, I'm very conscious of odors, and I was, you know, looking for smells of mildew or off-gassing, and I didn't get any of that. I was quite impressed that these rooms actually, you know, they don't have a smell of being old, or sometimes you go into old motels and they have a smell of cleaning materials or
Bleach.
fabric conditioners and all that kind of stuff, and it just didn't have that. Next. That is the same room. You know, he's done the best he can of making use of little spaces, but everything is in this match. Old linoleum in the bathroom. Next. So this is the mobile home, and it was actually in very good condition in the inside. There was one soft spot on one of the one place on the floor that's about 3 feet wide, and I want to talk to Joan about that because Joan has just completed a renovation and what that implication is. But again, there was no strange smells. All the appliances were in good shape. There were, and this isn't really relevant. This is really only relevant to me having to live there. But I
But
think
it's in remarkably good shape. Like that's an old mobile home, and those cabinets are like spotless.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree. I was
He's-
gonna say that, you know, if this is how he takes care of it, that shows kind of the,
exactly.
yeah, for
Like,
sure.
look at the stove. That stove is immaculate. Like, it's really cool. I'm
That's like
seeing this for the first time as well, so it's super cool.
That's like brand new 1981.
well, I think he also, because he's a carpenter, he has renovated some of the cabinets in other places. The one thing, yeah, as I mentioned, there's a thick pile carpet in all the areas except the kitchen and the bathroom. And I get to keep all that furniture. Isn't that fantastic?
Oh, yay. That's great.
No, it's not. So I'll get rid of all that furniture. And there was a manager that lived there up until a few years ago. And then when she moved out, they stopped having anybody on site, and he ran it quite casually. And there's the bathroom, there's some scuffs on the linoleum, but he said he did all the tiling of the bathroom himself. And this is the inside of the office. And another view of the office. And that's the end.
Cool.
So I just wanted to quickly look at my notes just to see if there's anything here. I mentioned that the motel roof had been replaced 10 years ago. The water heaters were replaced 5 years ago. I interviewed one of the tenants. She really liked living there. She was desperate not to be evicted. She said accommodation is extremely hard to find, or impossible to find in Selmo, which I think, you know, is an important data point. She said the 4 summers that she's lived there, that it has been full. The RV park and the motel, that's her recollection, it is cars just lined up in front of every unit. The paving crews have been renting rooms there for the last 5 months. Loggers rent throughout the year. The truck stop, I went and visited and talked to the owner, or not the owner, but one of the staff members across the road. They don't provide any services for truckers. It's just a place for them to stop and sleep in their trucks, which I think is also another opportunity for us. I looked at the traffic volumes for Highway 3, and it's 4,000 to 5,000 vehicles daily along that route. There are 2 motels just a few minutes away. Both start at $109 per night. So there's a significant, like, it's double the price of the Selkirk. And there is an RV park up the road with a very bad reputation. And when we drove by, you could see that the RVs were stacked cheek to jowl. Like they looked like they were in a laydown or a storage area. Like there was no space between them. There were no trees, and they had a fence around it. And that was their version of an RV park.
And I think, Geoff, the other thing too with this one is you've already talked to the regional district, and they seem to be open to expanding, right? So you could pretty much double the size of the park.
I didn't pose the question about expansion, but when I looked at the official community plan for the region and the official community plan for Selmo, they are encouraging more accommodation and more tourist accommodation. So we know that there is official support for these types of operations, and the property is not zoned, so there's no specific restrictions.
Yeah.
So
Great.
Yeah.
You mentioned something.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Bill.
you mentioned something about the stalls being in the basement. What did that mean?
It appears that the motel was constructed in 3 phases, and the first phase, which is on the far end, which has the washroom for the RV park on one side. It has the laundry room, and it has a utility room. There's a basement there, and downstairs he has a couple of new hot water heaters and 3 fiberglass shower inserts.
So there's actually a basement.
There's a basement.
Wow.
It's probably 600 square feet.
Huh.
You know, it's a
Wow.
Good wine cellar. Yeah, fascinating. Hey, Bill, it's just an awesome little place.
And the rest, so is the rest of the motel, so that's got a basement under it. The rest of it is either slab on grade, or is it foundation with floors? What is it?
It's a crawl space on he wasn't able to actually describe it. It's like a concrete apron or whatever however you would call that,
Yeah.
with a 12-inch
Footing,
crawl space underneath.
Okay,
And
That's fine.
there's no access to it. But when I've got hundreds of photographs because I was taking pictures of anything that looked like a deficiency, and there are lots of little bits and pieces that need fixing. But when you look at the close at the foundation under the motel, it's concrete, and then there are spaced out every maybe 15 or 20 feet these little metal vents.
Yeah,
right.
makes sense. Yeah. Cool. Very cool. So how many people think Geoff would make a great partner on any property because of the level of detail that he puts into his due diligence process? So you know, this is the fun part, right? Like if you're looking at a condo, if you're looking at even something that's brand new, right? Like I'm looking at something right now, a new development in Langford, and you know, we're looking at the disclosure statement, and we're looking at the OCP, and we're looking at how long is it going to take for things to happen with the fact that there's a new mayor and council, and Geoff's already talked to the regional district, and he's talked to the chamber, and he's met the owner. I like how many times do you buy a property and you do not get to meet the owner? Like most of the time, right? So the fact that you get to sit down with the owner who is disclosing that, you know, he just wants to get rid of this. His wife died. He just doesn't want to have it anymore. So, you know, we have an opportunity to take it off of his hands and create some legacy out of it. And I mean, who wouldn't want to make sure that you left your property in the hands of someone like Geoff? So it's just been amazing to watch Geoff putting all this together. And yeah, I mean, now it's just a matter of, I think he's probably going to reach out to Stefan and Bill and get them to have a look at some of the pictures, and then basically make a decision about an inspection. It doesn't seem like there's anything scary about this. And there's a couple of things that we're doing in terms of just getting some good comparables. So we're working with our friend Jory, and he's going to take a look at some commercial comparables around the area. He did mention that there was a small, I think it was either an RV park or a small motel recently that sold in Creston for around $400,000. But this one's assessed at $745. So, you know, there might be an opportunity to get it at a slightly lower price. But it also might have all of the value in it that it's on the table right now, because there's opportunity to expand, and Geoff already knows how much traffic is going by and what the truck stop is missing and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, just awesome. So it's
I think also
it's
just
great.
From the cash flow crunch that we did on this, we were using $55 a night for the rooms. I was talking to Esther today, and she was sort of like, "Oh my God, that's just so cheap." And when you look at the comparables, we based our cash flow crunch on $55 a night, and I think we could easily get 70. And I think during high season we could increase that even more. So I think we're actually on the conservative side in terms of revenue projection. Removal of subjects is November 28th. I think because we're moving into winter season, and because the man has made a connection with me because of the story he told and the response that I had to it, I think he's going to be quite amenable to trying to work with us to make the timing work. I've already talked to the inspection company, and they can do an inspection within a week's notice.
Yeah. So there we
Geoff,
go.
it
So now it's
sounds
just a matter.
And I think it's worth exploring. I'm sure you and Liza have talked about this. You know, there may be all kinds of sale options as well with an owner like that. So there's possible other things you could explore with purchase of sale of some.
Yeah. There's two things that I think about. He might take back that would be sweet, because now he's got an income for the rest of his life, and it might be he might like that. All that stuff, you just explore it.
And there's
the other thing is
tax advantages, I think, as well, right? Like there's a tax benefit to
huge benefit.
Take back.
Yes. Yeah. And just for reference point, trailers that are not very far away, and
in the Cosp area.
In the Cosp,
which is great.
and for 120 $126 a night for a
For
trailer.
a trailer,
So
yeah.
your mobile, yeah, so your, you know, a little tiny home that's bolted to the ground in your motel, those are light numbers. So your forecast can look pretty magical. Again, we don't, you know, our forecasting, we've done at 50% occupant at 40 or $50. That's crazy,
Yeah.
especially when you've got comp double. And it doesn't mean you have to go gouge the world, but the fact is it's going to make a big
Opportunity.
deal in your opportunity for going forward. So
Mhm.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. for that.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah, it's super
Very
exciting,
exciting.
and it's going to be heartbreaking to send Geoff up to live in the Kootenays. I'm going to have to fly in and visit him every once in a while. Don't know quite what I will do without him being here, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
It's
Well,
1 hour,
but,
it's a 1 hour flight from Trail to Vancouver. So it's actually
Yeah.
it's quite a quick jaunt.
And a beautiful flight at that. So yeah, so I know, you know, we've got a little bit more homework to do. Geoff's going to, as I say, he's probably going to have some longer conversations with Stefan and Bill. And I know there's a couple of people on the call who are super excited about talking to Geoff about this. And so, you know, Geoff basically just needs to decide about moving forward. If the seller is interested in doing any vendor financing, what that looks like. And then there's a number of different financing options that we are looking at. So somebody could come in as a private lender. Geoff's got a couple of people that might want to just partner with him. So he would obviously be the working partner and someone would come in with as a money partner. And then there's also a new small business loan that has been created specifically to stimulate tourism in the area. And it's a real estate tourism business loan, and they will fund, what was it, Geoff, up to 95% of a small business that included land and real estate acquisition?
Yeah, for commercial properties, either the construction or renovation of commercial properties, up to $1 million plus $150,000 line of credit, and 90% of the value.
Yeah, so it could very well be that that we do the loan application process, but just might need short-term bridge financing, you know, private loan to get it done while that process is going through. So there you go. Anybody? Go ahead, Esther.
What are you asking? Somebody asked that in the chat, but we were thinking about that. What do you need? What are you looking for, Geoff?
So it's sort of up in the air at the moment, partly because we think we're going to be going back with a lower offer, just because there are some renovations and that are needed.
Okay.
And I think you know these. And go ahead, Bill, and then I'll just add something. You go.
Yeah. Has he got family?
He has a stepdaughter.
He has a daughter.
Yeah, a stepdaughter, and the feeling I got is she kept calling him by his first name and then shaking her head and go, "I mean, my dad." I think I think there's a little bit of contention there, and so I think she's anxious to get an inheritance, but I think he doesn't really care. I think he just wants the responsibility lifted off his shoulders.
Well, there's two things about vendor financing, and one of the biggest ones for people that are this age is, where does his legacy money go? So you tie his dough to a charity, or 20% goes to his stepdaughter and the rest goes to society or whatever. You put that into those guys. I mean, people at that age, they love that stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
finding that
create
out
a park with his name on it, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
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 And you might not be
create a park with his wife's name. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, tons of cool things to think about.
Yeah, Bill,
Stefan, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I wanted to say, hey, Bill, can we get you on a call at some point? We'll get you on a call and chat more about this.
Totally.
And Esther, I just want to give you 10 points for those glasses.
Thanks, my blue light blockers.
The blue light blockers. Esther,
You know what I call
thinks the blue light blockers.
Those are her Martin Scorsese look.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Geoff,
Very cool.
Now,
Yeah, we're
Geoff,
done.
I hope this happens
Go
because
ahead, Rose.
we'll be neighbors because I live in Nelson.
That's so awesome.
Nelson is like, you know, I aspire to live in Nelson, but it's just so expensive there now. But it's one like
And
my
it's not that far.
No, it's 30 minutes away. Yeah, it's the most
Exactly,
beautiful
yeah.
place in the world.
We'll be
Yeah,
neighbors.
gorgeous.
Yay!
Very cool. Very cool. So yeah, I mean, and again, just to circle back, so for people who maybe haven't got another of the threads that we've kind of been pulling on is one of the things we've been talking to Donnie, we've been talking to some of our other friends up in the interior. Bill and Esther have got something that they're trying up there, and we definitely want to get a portfolio of parks, mobile home parks or RV parks, and so that's going to be high on the agenda for next year. And so if Geoff manages to get this one done, then that means that we've got the first one done, and then the due diligence on the other ones will be easy. We'll have an easy comparable, and it just once you get the one done, then it just your systems are easier to replicate, and it just makes everything easier. So we've had a goal of getting into the whole mobile home park, RV park industry field asset class for a long time, and we were going to do it in the US, and changed our minds on that. For now, we almost bought a park before COVID and then put it on hold, and so the timing of this is just kind of serendipitous. So it's we're just talking about the opportunities. I think there are going to be a lot of mom and pop run parks that are going to be cashing out in the next few years, because there's a little bit of a recession going on. There's a little bit of people trying to preserve their net worth. There's an interesting phenomenon of people who aren't even selling their property, but are feeling poor. Like it's interesting. I've had a couple of these conversations with some of my friends who are a little bit elderly, and they're like, oh, I'm losing so much money in my real estate. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? You've got your equity in your house? And they're like, yeah, but the value's dropped. And I'm like, well, has it really? And are you selling it tomorrow? And they're like, well, no. And I'm like, then what have you lost? Right. So it's just really interesting to see people in this getting caught up in this whole media frenzy of, oh my God, the sky is falling, right? So, a friend of mine yesterday, I went to see her, and they bought in East Vancouver at the top of the market this year, and she's panicking, and her husband's saying to her, we're going to be here for 10 years. Don't worry about it. We're going to be here for 10 years, right? Don't worry about it. So those are all of the little things that we just have to keep reminding ourselves of. So if we can take some of the opportunities that are going to come our way and create some really great housing opportunities or vacation opportunities or fun joint venture opportunities for ourselves, then we're just going to continue to set ourselves up for the future. So super cool. Awesome job, Geoff. I tell you, man, you are the due diligence master. I love it. I just love it. I gave Geoff the book, the mobile home park book, for those of you who may not have heard us joke about this before, but Stefan and Joan and I actually went to Mobile Home Park University, and we came back with books and binders, and I gave Geoff the book, and Geoff was asking me questions. I'm like, nope, here's the book. Geoff's asking me questions. I'm like, nope, here's the book. It's real estate by checklist, man. You got your 30 days of due diligence, and it literally, you open the book and it's day one, and you have 5 things to do on day one. And he's just been doing an incredible job, and it's just been so fun to watch him going on this journey.
Literally.
Exactly. It's a journey.
How was
Can I
this
ask
trip?
quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Can I ask a quick question, Liza?
Hey,
Is that
Christine,
okay? If
yeah,
Geoff?
of course.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Geoff. Thanks so
Hi.
much for your presentation. I just had a quick question, and if you've touched on this, my apologies, but I don't know if you know this yet, or what are your plans in terms of renovations or updates to the motel specifically? Like, are you planning to do cosmetics, get it freshened up, or I mean, obviously it's ready to go as is because it's been renting. So it's not really an issue, but what are your plans for that? And then, do you have some kind of a budget for that, or how are you going to go about figuring that out?
So we had made some assumptions before we saw it, and in our cash flow crunch, and we'd put aside some money for cosmetic stuff like painting and linoleum in the unrenovated suites. I think that the exterior needs to complete the paint job, as it wasn't completed, like they did a single coat. and the process of replacing the wood framed windows. They put the window frame windows in, but where they broke the stucco in order to put it in, they haven't put any trim around. So there are a few things, but I think it would be a year 1 and year 2 sort of plan. In year 1, we projected about $72,000 left over if we met our revenue projections, which I'm now believing are conservative. So I think we have about $15,000 to $20,000 to do initial cosmetic changes in the first year, and then we would have, potentially $50,000 to $70,000 to do more. The thing that has shifted is, in order to meet our expectations, we need to renovate that gutted suite. So I need to talk to Stefan after I've shown him the pictures of the suite and see what he thinks based on the square footage, what that cost would be. And that might be a year 2 thing, because our occupancy projections are 90%. So if you take that unit out, we're still in effect kind of meeting our occupancy projections.
Okay,
and Geoff, just to jump in to add a little bit more context for that with Christine, we have talked about the fact that the motel could actually be a liability, right? Like when Geoff's gone up there now and seen it, but we looked at it and thought, the value might be in expanding the park, just the RV sites, and the motel could actually be a liability. Allison was mentioning last week, was asking us about, obviously there's going to be asbestos and vermiculite and all kinds of stuff in there. Stefan's been talking about how the cost of remediation has been coming down. So Stefan has a background in general contracting. So he'll get dragged up there at some point to have a look at it and do some estimates. Bill, a good friend of ours, he's got a background in construction as well. So we'll have lots of good eyes on it to make the decision of, does it make sense to do any renovations to the motel, or do we just hold on to it for a couple of years and then bulldoze it and put in, make it a 90 spot RV park, right? So so the motel will be kind of a consideration to just keep it fresh and lovely for now. And then, the other side of that is, go all hog wild and do what they did on the Netflix, the motel makeover, and create our own version of June. Instead of June, we'll have Geoff's. We'll create great little Geoff motel brands, and yeah.
I think there's a real opportunity for that, Liza. I think there really is on that segment there. You become the, we got to stay at that place. I do think that I do see that opportunity in that spot for sure.
Yeah. And it's, as we come out of COVID and people are traveling, a lot of people they're reassessing their lives, right? They don't want to work as hard as they did before. And so what are the things that people want to do more than anything else? Travel with friends and family. And so when you can create a really cool brand and experiences, and Geoff and I have background in tourism and events, so kind of a no-brainer for us to be able to create really cool, unique events and experiences for people. So yeah, that's all going to be part of the fun, right, Geoffy?
It is. And, my most recent work experience last 5 years has been marketing. And the owner said he doesn't do marketing. They don't do ads. They just have a website. The website is sort of functional. They just go as it goes. They pick up the phone call, and that's
word of mouth, right?
It's all word of mouth. Yeah.
All word of mouth. Yeah. So yeah, it's a hot little opportunity, and it would literally be the first, right? It could give us the opportunity to pick up 5 more like it and create a really cool brand. So that's the big goal. It's out in the universe now. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Geoff. Yeah, I was just wondering, you mentioned that it was in a floodplain. Is this particular parcel a concern?
It's not. I spoke to the geotechnical people at the regional district, and it's on the floodplain for Erie Creek, and the floodplain boundary runs just along the edge of the property, and that boundary is considered a once in a 200-year event. And they said the only issue is if you have a structure on it, or if you're planning to build a structure on it or renovate a structure on it, and and he said he looked at the lot line, he looked at the floodplain boundary, and he said that it would unlikely have any implications in terms of insurance.
It was 30 meters or something, was it, Geoff?
30 meters from the natural water course boundary, and we are right on that 30 meters.
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay. Do you know if tiny home is allowed?
Tiny homes allowed on that site?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I haven't asked the question. I know that the property is not zoned, but I don't actually know.
I would assume yes. If you're allowed RVs and trailers, then a tiny home would probably qualify as such.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Yeah, so you could potentially do tiny homes. What about mobile
Mhm.
homes? Like, so then you have RV, mobile homes, maybe tiny homes. So you have a variety, and you have a motel. It could be Airbnb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it'll all just depend on, what makes the most sense, and for Geoff, what's going to be the easiest, right? Because putting the mobile home parks on, requires what is it, Geoff, Stefan, about $5,000 to $10,000 per pad to create a mobile home, a proper pad with the
Yeah, something like
everything.
that. I'd have to
Yeah.
check the local areas, but
Yeah.
yeah, for an RV or mobile home, yeah, you're just running water and power essentially, right? And putting possibly a concrete pad down. So yeah.
Yeah.
There's
I
a
mean,
que-
the RV's definitely going to be the easiest way to go for sure. Yeah.
There's a question about occupancy over the last 12 months. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is a land and building sale. They were not selling the business, partly because Eliza infers that it was a cash only business, even though there is a debit machine. So when we asked for financials, because we wanted to pursue traditional financing, they said that that wouldn't be possible. And what I understand now is because even before his wife died, they were starting to wind down the business. And he said during its peak, which I would have been about 3 or 4 years ago, and I assumed that also he was probably affected by COVID in terms of loss of business for a period. But he didn't want to disclose those numbers because he felt that they weren't representative of what the business could do. And then after talking to that tenant who said that for the last 4 years, during the summer months, from May until September, the RV park and the motel was full. I figure that that's probably good evidence enough. So I don't, in fact, have the actual occupancy numbers.
Yeah, and we've done our numbers, and if anybody hasn't seen the other video, Geoff's got that. So if someone's interested, he can send that. It's got the cash flow projections on it that he did monthly. So he did a great job on the cash flow projections as well, and did a good occupancy based on everything from the fires to the winter months and the whole work. So he did a great job on that. Excellent. Well, oh my gosh, it's 8:30. Where does the time go? It's amazing that we just spent all that time talking about that little park.
So Geoff, was it $20 a day that he rents the RV spots for?
18.
18. And there's how many RV spots?
18. Yes, 18. That's right. Yeah.
Right. So if you expand that out to, if that's full for 30 days, that's $10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we base their cash flow crunch on $25, which is sort of more comparable to what's going on in the region. I mean,
Go ahead, Bill.
The City of Trails RV Park is $40 a night.
We were at a farm this weekend, and they have 3 sites, and they were $65, $75 a night. You have your personal outhouse. And you have running water from a hose.
And that's it.
And you get 2 things. You get a dozen eggs in the morning from the chickens, and you get all the greens you can eat.
Where was this, Bill?
Blow your head up.
In Maple,
Maple Ridge.
Langley Maple Ridge.
Yeah.
It's on a farm that we bought vegetables from.
So-
We went,
so
"No,
you-
we're not counting."
Yeah, so your prices are a tad low. I just saying.
Conservative, we always go for the worst
that's
case
good.
scenario.
Good.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
good.
so really good. So I know we could probably talk about this forever, but I think we should probably wrap up. Geoff's probably Yeah,
I've got
this
dogs
has
to
been a
feed.
lot for you, hey? Yeah, you've got stuff to do. So a couple quick things. Again, for those of you who are in Vancouver, we're going to be at the Port Coquitlam Earls on Shaughnessy tomorrow, having a little quick happy hour. And then if you want to join me, I'm going to be walking on across the street to Kelly Fry's investor performance group. She's got 4 or 5 guest speakers lined up tomorrow night, so it'll be a good real estate education night. And they always have some food and wine, so that'll be fun. We've got our Christmas party in Victoria on December 6th. I'm going to Mexico. We are going to be winding down a little bit. I also am only going to, we're going to basically take about 6 more members between now and the end of the year. And then we're shutting membership down until probably end of March, because we need to bring everybody that's in to where we are, and then we're going to shut down. We've got some new things that we're bringing out, some new partners, some new opportunities, and then probably in March the cost is going to go up by about $400 or $500. So there'll be a lot happening in the spring, and so yeah, there's going to be the inner circle for anybody who wants to be part of the inner circle. I think we're gonna keep our opportunity to keep a handful of people close, and then we have to blow things up a little bit because of some new projects that are coming on in the new year. So next week we get a day off because we had 5 Wednesdays, and then the last November we'll do Member Connect. I might also just use that opportunity to give everybody a quick update on the Langford opportunities. So Member Connect is where
as well.
Sorry, say that again, Geoff.
And we've got the Smith maneuver.
Yes. Oh, great.
Oh,
is that Turbo Tuesday?
Turbo Tuesday, yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's the 2nd Tuesday of December.
That's right.
Excellent. So for everyone, because Tuesdays is an open session, this is a really good one. The Smith maneuver. Robinson Smith wrote a best-selling book. It's always in the top 5 in Amazon. It's a tax strategy, and I won't say too much more about it, but if you own a home and have a mortgage, you should learn about the Smith maneuver. That's what you need to know. So that'll be a good one. Julia and Colleen are going to host that. They're Smith maneuver accredited ambassadors, so they can walk us through the program. And yeah, I mean, I can't believe it's going to be December already. And yes, I know there's a couple people who want to get their membership done. So please reach out and let me know, because we're only doing a few more, and then I got to shut the doors on that. So we can get everybody up to speed and then take a little bit of a break, and then we're shooting out of the cannon in the new year. I think and I will be doing some stuff from Mexico. So if people have some questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to join us on Member Connect. Rosie, a good reminder, we'll do a form update as well. I'm going to drive past form tomorrow and take some photos. So form, for those of you who maybe aren't familiar, there's a group of us, there's quite a few of us that are on the call right here now, actually about half of us. We decided to buy 4 pre-sales with a group of 11 of us, and I think it was all the girls and Stefan basically, we started the call and Stefan was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to join you because I've got to run off, but whatever the girls are doing, I'm in. And so I phoned him 2 hours after our call and I said, Stefan, you owe me $25,000. You just bought a condo. And he's like, oh, okay. So we have 4 pre-sales in Langley. So we'll drive by and take some pictures of that. And we may do the same thing with this Langford opportunity. So I'll have more information about that. So thank you, everybody. Great to see you. Geoff, amazing job. Darlene, awesome to hear about the cryptocurrency. I know there's people saying they're going to reach out to you about the digital currency. I just think it's awesome. And I know I'll be following up with you in a couple of days. And great to see everybody, and great that Geoff had so many good questions. And Rosie, I hope to see you in Mexico. All right, I think that's good for tonight. Okay, cool. Bye, everybody.